October 12, 2014, from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida, it was the Baltimore Ravens at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And in this game, the Ravens got on the board first, and once they got on the board and scored one touchdown, they didn't stop there as they started the game with 38 unanswered points in the first half. But let's start off with the first score, and that was a 15-yard touchdown pass from Joe Flacco to Torrey Smith to make it 7-0 Ravens in the first. Then Joe Flacco hit Torrey Smith for the second time in the second touchdown of this game, and that was a 9-yard touchdown pass that made it 14-0 Ravens over the Bucs. Then Joe Flacco hit Kamar Aiken for a 17-yard touchdown pass to make it 21-0 Ravens over the Bucs. Joe Flacco wasn't done in the first though, as he threw his fourth touchdown of the fourth quarter. This one a 19-yard pass to Campanaro, and it was now 28-0 Ravens over the Bucs in the first. Then in the second, they added 10 more points as Joe Flacco hit Steve Smith for a 56-yard touchdown to make it 35-0 Baltimore over Tampa Bay. Justin Tucker got in on the action with a 46-yard field goal with a little less than 9 minutes left before halftime to make it 38-0, and that would be it for the first half. And the score was 38-0 going to locker rooms at halftime as the Ravens had the decisive lead over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But the Buccaneers were undaunted as they came out in the third quarter and they scored a field goal on their first drive, a 47-yard kick from Patrick Murray to make it 38-3, as Tampa Bay now trailed by just 5 touchdowns. Then the Bucs actually got in the end zone as Mike Glennon hit Mike Evans for a 17-yard touchdown pass to make it 38-10, as the Bucs now cut the Ravens' lead to 4 touchdowns. But the Ravens then came back with a 4-yard touchdown run by Bernard Pierce as they capped off an almost 6-minute drive that went 80 yards in 11 plays and made it 45-10 to end the third quarter as they were back up by 35 points. The Bucs, undaunted, came back on the next drive and they scored on a touchdown pass from Mike Glennon to Louis Murphy, a 3-yard pass that made it 45-17. But the Ravens came back with a 49-yard field goal from Justin Tucker to make it 48-17, and that would be the final score as the Ravens win this one in a blowout. They're jumping out to that quick lead early as they were up by 38 points at the end of the first half. The final score, 48-17 Ravens over the Buccaneers, and the Ravens are now 4-2 on the season, and the Buccaneers fall to 1-5. And in this game, Joe Flacco was 21 for 29 with 306 passing yards and 5 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Mike Glennon was 24 for 44 with 314 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. The leading rusher in this game was Justin Forsett with 111 yards off of 14 carries. Pierce had 32 yards off of 15 carries, one of which was for a touchdown. The leading receiver in this game was Steve Smith. He had 110 yards off of 5 receptions, one of which was for a touchdown. And for the Buccaneers, Martin and Rainey both had over 40 yards. Martin had 11 carries for 45 yards. Bobby Rainey had 7 carries for 42 yards. And Murphy had 72 yards receiving off of 7 receptions, one of which was for a touchdown. Levante David was the game's leading tackler with 14 touchdowns. And that was for the Buccaneers. Smith had the game's lone interception, and that was for the Ravens. Mosley was the leading tackler for the Ravens, and the Ravens combined for 5 tackles. The Buccaneers did not sack Joe Flacco once. I mean, the Ravens had 5 sacks, not 5 tackles. They had 58 tackles. But the 5 sacks were Smith had 1 sack, Williams had half a sack, Elvis Dumerville had 1.5 sacks, and McPhee had 1 sack. So quite the game as the Ravens put a whooping on the Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. And the final score, Baltimore 48, Tampa Bay 17.